Welcome to On the Bit, your weekly preview of the weekend's racing. I'm David from Dream Thoroughbreds, and with me is Lenny from Bluegrass Bloodstock. How are you, Lenny?
Going great, Dave.
That's good. Had a bit of a tough day here at Caulfield Guineas Day last Saturday, but we're chock full of confidence this week, and it's the Caulfield Cup, the Group 1 over 2,400 metres, and it's one of the highlights of the Spring Carnival. And yeah, it's a great race, a great renewal of this race, probably the best and strongest renewal of this race over the last 20 years. So who do you like in the Caulfield Cup, Lenny?
As you said, it's a great race, and a few of the leading chances have had their chances slaughtered by bad barriers, Dave. But
yeah,
I'm sticking with December Draw. I had a look at him in the mounting yard prior to the Turnbull run, and he wasn't wound down for that run. Mark Kavanagh's left a little bit up his sleeve, so he's going to peak Saturday. His last couple of runs have been first rate, you know, 2/3 in set weights and weight for age, Group 1. I think he'd be spot on. He's drawn well in 12, he should get a nice run. The only thing for him is he's not proven at a 1.5 miles. So if he runs a strong 1.5 miles,
yeah,
I think he'll get the chocolates. I think you've got to concede chances to the Peter Moody trained pair in Sneaker Peak. He was a great run in the Turnbull, and he's won over the 1.5 miles. And Lights of Heaven, if she franks that Brisbane Cup form where she showed a return to form last start in the Hill Stakes, running third, so I've got to give her a chance also.
Yeah, you did mention that the December Draw was a run short last campaign in the Manning Yard, last run, sorry. So yeah, I'm not surprised that you followed up with him. I know it's hard to fathom, but now we have a lot of international runners coming into our cups, and it's going to be like that for the future. So we just need to get used to it now. So don't fight it, just work with it. So in saying that, I like a horse that was purchased by Australian Connections last year and set for the cups this year. His name is My Quest for Peace. And I believe he's on the bit and will win the Caulfield Cup. I've watched his international races. He's a 5-year-old horse by Galileo, and he's an on-pace stayer from the UK, and I think he's thrown in at the weights here at 53.5 kilos. He's better than his stablemate Gatewood, who was very unlucky last week in the Herbert Power. The pace will be set up here with Glen Canham Gold and Voyalici drawn way out wide. Their jockeys have got no choice but to come across the field and take up the pace. So with Jimmy Cassidy on Glen Canham Gold, who's known for just sweeping across these fields and leading on these horses, he will shoot across. Voyalici will go with him, and I think they'll really set up the pace. And My Quest for Peace from Barrier 2, I think he'll just get the suck-up run behind them. And the horses that can't stay in this Caulfield Cup, Lenny, will be struggling at about the 600 when they're all off the bit. So only the true stayers will show up. I think he'll be with Corey Brown on board, who's struck some form with a Group 1 win last week. Smoke the pipe, peel off the fence when they turn into the straight, and I think My Quest for Peace will be winning the Caulfield Cup this year. His danger for mine is Dunedin. I think he's had a great summer through the European summer. He's really the benchmark in this race, and I've worked Quest for Peace back on Dunedin. They've raced in the UK together, and they've pretty much raced on level weights, and now he gives him 4.5 kilos. So that's why I've tipped My Quest for Peace on top. But I do think Dunedin is a good chance on here, but he is drawn Barrier 2 and will take a gem of a ride from Craig Williams to get across and get a sit on this race. And he'll probably be giving My Quest for Peace a couple of lengths, maybe even 4 lengths start at the top of the straight. He'll work home really strongly, and he will, but I just don't think he'll be able to catch him on the line. But Dunedin is my Quinella horse, and I recommend taking that Quinella. I think you'll get a good result. So they're the two for mine. The European stayers are my chances in the Caulfield Cup. The other main race of the day is the Group 2 Tristarc over 1,400 for fillies and mares. And this is a really tough race. And who do you like in this, Lenny?
Well, she came back to form last start, Machine, and she's the one for me.
Yep.
She's back at her home track. She's won here, she's won over the distance. This race does have more depth than the one she encountered last start, but the depth is coming from Sydney. So those Sydney fillies they've got to lift a cog to knock her off here.
Yep.
And for mine, Robert Smurden's done the right thing. He's kept her against the girls. I don't think she's going good enough to compete against the boys, but yeah, against her own sex, I think she'll be winning.
I agree. Yeah, he needs to keep her against the mares. This is although it's a Group 3 race, it's actually got a Group 1 quality about it. It's a very strong race for mine. And geez, I like Red Tracer in this race. I think she gets a gun run behind the leader. Miss Stella Bell will lead this race. And she's got a great record second up, Red Tracer. She's going to get the suck up run behind Miss Stella Bell. She'll sit about 4th or 5th. And again, Corey Brown on board. I expect Corey Brown to have a big day on Saturday. And he'll be once a steady pace up front. They won't go too hard, and then I expect her to be in front of Machine and outsprint her to win. And she's $6 fixed odds at the moment, and I think she's on the bit. So Red Tracer for mine in the Tristark. Some stable news. Any stable news from you, Lenny, this week?
Just got a horse in New Zealand that we purchased at the select sales for 24,000. They've got the ready to runs coming up, and we bought him in a view to ready to run him, and they just had the ready to runs at Tarapa, and he breezed up in a pretty fast 10.62. So we're looking at long term to make a profit on him. So the sales in a month's time, and at the moment it looks pretty positive. So yeah.
You're looking for the Asian buyers for that one?
Asian buying bench, yeah. The DVDs get sent out next week, and they go all across the world. Really, it's a pretty broad buying bench.
10.62 is a great breeze up. So good luck with that one, Lenny.
Thank you.
We've had a pretty quiet week actually with the stable. Flirtatious is due to run next Thursday at Ballarat over 1,600 metres in a fillies and mares race. She's going really well. We expect her to be really competitive and hopefully be in the finish of this race. And if all going well, we'll back her up in a 1,700 metre fillies race on Oaks Day at Flemington during the carnival, so that'll be exciting for all the owners. Fruling also is still at Werribee Hospital. He wasn't too good over the last weekend. He's picked up this week, and he is making steady improvement, and I'll update everyone next week on him. The only other news is we've got an upcoming event on Sunday, the 4th of November, which is the Sunday before Melbourne Cup Day. It's at the Crown Palladium. It's the Group 1 Racing Gala. Tickets are $240 per person. This is a premier evening. This is a la carte. Shannon Knoll to entertain. There's some racing identities to have a bit of a chat about previous Melbourne Cups, but it's more about, you know, having a bit of a dance and having a bit of fun during the Cup week. But this will be there'll be over 500 people in attendance, and it'll be a great evening. And Dream Thoroughbreds will have a few tables at that event. So give me a call on 0416 105 666 if you're interested in attending and joining us on the Dream Thoroughbreds tables. So value bets for the weekend, Lenny. What's your value bets for the cards this weekend?
Caulfield, race 5, number 4, Galar for mine. This horse showed a lot of promise in his first preparation. It didn't come up last prep, but he resumed at Flemington with an eye-catching 4th in the Gilgai, and that was a pretty hot field. Yeah. And if you look at his form, he's 2 from 3 second up. Yeah. And he's won at Caulfield. I must say this race, you can go a little bit wide and take a multiple, because King's Rose ran second in that race. Yeah. And there's another horse of Roger James's, Full of Spirit, that was a really eye-catching run. So I reckon you could take a quinny with those three and be right in the money. Yeah,
I think Galar's 8-1 in the fixed odds, and he was going to be anything in his first prep. As you said, he didn't go too well last prep, but at 8-1, he's a good bet. He was very unlucky last start. I've got a few value bets. I'm really confident this Saturday in this meeting. I've picked out heaps for you, and I won't name them all, just name a few. Caulfield Race 6, number 1, Midsummer Music. I think this mare is very well suited in the race. She won a Group 1 last preparation. She'll be suited by a lot of pace in this race up front. And she loves this Caulfield circuit, and will be steaming home over the last 100. She's actually $7 fixed odds at the moment on the bit for mine, each way value. Get on Midsummer Music. Caulfield Race 2, number 8, Divine Moon. He was scratched from Wednesday, where I thought he'd actually win that race. But there's no reason for me to get off, and I still think he can win on this Saturday. At his last race, he ran 3rd in the Stan Fox behind Cabayan, over 1,500, and was finding the line very strongly in that race. He was actually sort of keeping up with Cabayan to the line. He got beat a couple of lengths, but that's a very strong form line. The drop down from 1,500 to 1,400 is maybe the only slight disadvantage, because he will get probably back at midfield. But Hugh Bowman on board. He's drawn barrier 2. I think you'll find the gaps through towards the last 100 metres of this race $8 fixed odds early. He's into $6.50. Everybody's starting to jump on board. Bart Cummings' horse, another one, a great each way value. He's on the bit. And special mention to my old favourite that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, race 1, number 1, Villa Splendido. I labelled her a couple of weeks ago. I know she disappointed, but Corey Brown on board again. Corey Brown, get on the Jockeys Challenge this week. I think he's good value. He rode her first up when she ran a cracker. She was disappointing last start, but she wouldn't take the gaps. The blinkers go on this start. She's back on the bit this week. She's $3.80. I think she'll get everyone off to a great start for the day on Saturday. Multi are up in everything for the day on the bit, Villa Splendido. So yeah, as I said, Lenny, very confident this weekend. I think we'll get all of our followers back on track. So who's your on the bit special for the weekend, mate?
On the bit special, we're going to Caulfield again.
Yep.
Cabayan for me and the Norman Robinson. I've been hanging out for this guy to get to 2,000.
Off the bit 2 weeks ago.
He was, but he's back on the bit this week.
Yep.
He's out to 2,000. He's drawn the red box.
Yep.
I think he's going to lead or either sit right on the speed and dictate. But his form holds up. Lady of Harrods, he ran a slashing race behind Lady of Harrods here at Caulfield.
Yep.
And this horse, in my mind, he's just been crying out for that 2,000. I think he just wins. Just get on the bit.
On the bit, Cabayan. I'm in sync, Lenny. Cabayan, on the bit. I can't. All right, we know Gaia Nash had a bad day last Saturday, but this horse just wins. I know you can be. He was off the bit a couple of weeks ago for both of us, but you can be off the bit one week and on the bit the next, and he's on the bit this week. Why he's on the bit is we've been waiting for him at the 2,000. And I've really thought this is when he was going to strike his form. I reckon he won well last start. Nash rode him beautifully last start over 1,500, but I think the 2,000s will suit him. He's been given 3 weeks to recover for the step up from 1,500 to 2,000. He'll race forward. There's actually not a lot of pace in this race, so I expect Nash either to lead or just take the sit behind something that maybe take up the lead. And Nash won't make the same mistake this week. He'll save this horse for a sprint at the 200, and they won't catch him. I expect him to be on the bit and make the Derby a 2-horse war with It's a Done Deal, who Lenny will absolutely declare on Derby Day or Derby Day Eve. Take him at the $9 in the Derby now before Saturday's race, and then save on It's a Done Deal on Derby Day. He's 2-to-1 for Saturday. $2.80 for Saturday's race, and use him as a banker or for the day in everything. Multis, everything. Cabayan. Off the bit, Lenny. You were a bit off the mark last week, Lenny. Buffrey was very gutsy.
He was very gutsy. Well, that just teaches you when you go off the bit against a horse that's won $2 million.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, it's another winner. This horse, race 7, number 1, Hot Schnitzel in Sydney, and the reason I'm going off the bit with him is he goes a bomb first up.
First up specialist,
but he's got 59, and he's never carried that sort of weight. And there's a couple of horses down on the 54 minimum that are getting 5 kilos off him, like Welcome Gold.
Yep.
That I think are going to give him a real test, and I think he's gonna feel the pinch that last bit with the heavy weight.
Yeah, you're sticking your neck out again. Hot Schnitzel first up, he just wins. But
4 from 5.
59 kilos is probably the only thing. But good luck with that, Lenny. I'm going against you here too. I'm off the bit with race 9, number 1, Machine. I just think her best form's been at Flemington, and I just think in a very competitive race from barrier 11, I can't see how she's going to get a soft run like she did in the last race that she won. The jockey, Nick Hall, is not known for shooting horses out of the barrier across fields, so I expect her to go back and give this field a bit of a start. I think she's worth the risk at $3.70, so I'm prepared to say she's off the bit. So I'm probably sticking my neck out a bit there because she obviously is a Group 1 winner, multiple Group 1 winner I should say. But yeah, it's the Caulfield form that just worries me about her. So great days of racing, Caulfield Cup Day. We were in the Connections winning enclosure for the MRC last week, and that was fabulous, wasn't it, Lenny?
Oh, fantastic. They've done a great job, and anyone that hasn't got out to Caulfield, please do get out here.
Yeah.
You'll have a ball. It's fantastic. If you got an owner's gold card or or if you're a member of Caulfield, but even just an owner's gold card, that will get you in there, and you can have a great day.
And we'll be located out there on Saturdays, so anybody who's interested to come and say hello, come and say hello, and we'll be full of confidence and hopefully chock full of cash in our pockets. So good luck for the Caulfield Cup for 2012. See you next week.
See you later. Cheers, Dave.
See ya.